We have big news. We have exciting news for you. Tell them what it is, Sareena.
We are super excited to announce that we are starting our first membership this January 2024.
Yay! Membership.
So we're excited to let you know that we will be hosting a monthly membership where when you join, you will be
with us live in a Zoom room once a month for a workshop like we just hosted. It's going to be a workshop like that, one topic each month, a different topic. You might even help us come up with the following month's topic from inside our membership. Super excited to meet you. It was so fun meeting a few of you in our inaugural workshop. So we're really looking forward to that.
And when you are a member, you will also be receiving a monthly newsletter where I'm going to be a little more intimate and I'll be sharing the things that are working and the things that aren't working for me.
Yeah, like taking a tool that you've learned from the podcast and how you're implementing it and how well that worked, or maybe if it didn't work. And then Amma can put in my 2 bits worth. We'll see how that goes. But a membership newsletter and a membership live Zoom room workshop starting in January 2024. Can sign up through our Patreon link in the show notes. Yeah.
Yes, everything will be in the show notes, and we can't wait to see you there, listeners.
We can't wait. Yay! So, having a bedtime routine also really sets the stage for, all the stuff, what's coming next, but also it helps our bodies to start calming. It helps that circadian rhythm that we've talked about before start coming into gear. So we're calming our bodies because we know that at the end of this routine, we're going to be in bed, lying down, falling asleep. So it sets the stage for sleep, basically. Hey, Mama, welcome to the Nurturing Parent Podcast. Do you want to end the constant battles for bath time? Do you find yourself emotionally exhausted at the end of the day? Do you wake up with big hopes for a smooth day of fun with your little ones, only to face an early morning meltdown because you peeled their banana the wrong way?
Silly you.
Silly you.
Hey, I'm Sareena. I'm a mama of 2 little ones, and as a new mama, I constantly questioned myself. I wanted to make sure I was raising respectful kids while also building a strong bond with them. But I discovered that I had to unlearn my ideas that punishment was the way. With Amma Lisa's encouragement, I've been practicing a respectful and gentle parenting approach, which is strengthening our bond as a family.
And hi, I'm Amma Lisa. Amma means grandmother in Icelandic. I am a mama and an Amma. And I have over 40 years of experience in childcare and parent coaching. And I am so excited to share the knowledge I've gained over these years with you.
Together in this podcast, each week we will explore some easy to implement skills you can add to your parenting tool belt to help you create a happy, thriving family. So I'm curious what bedtime routines look like in other families, because I'm starting to notice that's something that we're lacking as a family. I'm not good at keeping routines. But I know I need to have everything planned. And when it's not planned, I know I freak out. So I'm just curious what bedtime routines look like, why we need them, because our night times go pretty smooth. They are pretty smooth. But I know we need a routine. And I know once school starts, that's going to be a place I'm going to struggle if I don't start now.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. I love it. Okay, bedtime routines. A lot of parents have a really hard time with bedtime. I'm going to go against the grain and tell you I love bedtime. A lot of times we hate it. We are nervous about bedtime every night because we're exhausted by a long day with a lot of going on with all our little ones, demanding us all day long. Everybody needing us all day long, and we're tired and we just want them to go to sleep. And to me, there's something really precious in this time of day So I'm going to let's have a conversation about what a bedtime routine is, why it's important. And I want to bring to you that precious piece that I know that a lot of parents miss out on. And yes, I'm coming to you as a grandmother who isn't dealing with the exhaustion of not getting your full night's sleep every night and little ones pulling physically on your body and also on your emotional
Oh,
body
yeah.
and your psychological body all day long. So I get that I'm in a different place. And I will tell you, there were, I raised my own daughter and lots of other people's children I would be with for weeks on end. Starting when I was a teenager, I started this weeks on end babysitting childcare when parents would go away. Not really, really young ones, but anyway, bedtime routine is a beautiful thing. And there is something precious. There's some precious gems in this time of day. And I'm going to encourage all of you parents to try and find that gem. And it starts with having a really solid routine. So let's look at why is a bedtime routine so important. Number one, bedtime routines, any routine, anything that we know what's going to happen and what's going to happen next and what's going to happen after that and what's going to happen after that. When we know that, one follows two, two follows one, and three follows two, and four follows three, and B follows A, and C follows B. When we know what's coming next, it gives us a sense of security. It gives us a feeling of safety. I am a person myself who has had and continues to have sleep disturbances and insomnia since I was very young. And was I actually went to a sleep clinic a few years back, and I learned so much about sleep. So some of that will come into this conversation. Another thing that we call it is sleep hygiene, which is how you get your body ready for sleep. They call it sleep hygiene. But one of the things I learned in my first conversation with this doctor, and all he does is treat people who have sleep disturbances that are emotionally based, not sleep apnea, which is physiologically based. And the thing that I learned that very first appointment was that we, as humans, as the human mammal that we are, we need to feel safe in order to allow our bodies, this is all subconscious, to allow our bodies to go into deep sleep. We need to feel safe. So we want to create a safe security feeling for our children. And they will go to sleep easier. It will take less time for them to fall asleep. And they will sleep deeper. They will sleep longer without waking up. And they will awaken more refreshed. Now, that's all going to sound like, sure, Amma. And if you don't have a strong routine now, it will take some time. And those are the promises out there into your future if you start putting a routine in place. Okay.
That is part of why we chose co-sleeping, also on breastfeeding. So her being next to me, I sleep better. I know she sleeps better because when we did try with the bassinet, it it would not work, and we definitely got a better night's sleep when we're next to each other with both my first and my second.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's also part of my downfall with being able to set a bedtime routine because with dinner and just, the rush of nighttime
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then them sleeping with us and us being their comfort because they're only going to go to sleep if we're in the bed with them
Mm-hmm.
and the lights are off. It's hard because I don't have that routine of getting myself into bed consistently
Right.
at the same time. So, and they're
So
with me.
it sounds like you've been having a family bedtime
Yeah.
instead of a children's bedtime separate from an adult's bedtime.
Yeah. And I feel like
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
come across anybody else that does that.
Uh-huh.
Nobody.
Well, and a lot of people co-sleep, and I really acknowledge you for co-sleeping. It's what I did, and it is what I truly believe is natural and normal and healthy for us as humans. And I want to point out just really briefly that we North Americans, Western society, I know there's a few other countries that do this, but we are the only ones who do it the most, where our children are down the hall in a different room with the door closed. And I remember the first time I went to Iceland and chatted with a friend who was in early learning as part of her work world. And she said, why do North Americans do that? Like, why? Because she watched TV movies that are made in America, and she's like, we don't here in Iceland, we do not understand how people can put their very young children, infants, newborns, down a hall in a different room. She said it's so foreign. So I wanted to bring that into the conversation to say that just because everybody around you does a certain thing a certain way, it's not like that the whole world over. In fact, most families in most of the world, a huge percentage, and I didn't look it up before this conversation, I forgot, huge percentage of humans around the world sleep with their young, and certainly in the same room, but mostly in the same bed when they're very young. That's a high percentage. So just putting that out there for all of you listeners. um, so having a bedtime routine for your children, yeah, you're going to lie down with them. Being a co-sleeper, you're going to lie down with them. You're going to get them to sleep in your big bed, and then you are going to find a way to get back up out of bed so that you and hubby can have a little time together, or you can have a little time doing what you need to do, your reading or your own calming time. And then you're going to go to bed in the same bed with them. But it doesn't have to be that bedtime has to be the same. Okay. So having a bedtime routine also really sets the stage for, all the stuff, what's coming next, but also it helps our bodies to start calming. It helps that circadian rhythm that we've talked about before start coming into gear. So we're calming our bodies because we know that at the end of this routine, we're going to be in bed, lying down, falling asleep. So it sets the stage for sleep, basically. Okay, so how do we do this? There are certain parts of the bedtime routine that for me are just natural, normal. Every child I've ever been with for bedtime, we do the same routine. My own child, yes, every night. Well, every now and then there's a night that it changes, but consistency is key. And the pieces are bath time, pajamas, teeth, story in bed, and of course, because I'm the singing Amma, a lullaby. And, so those are the basics: bath, jammies on, teeth brushing, story, and lullaby. 5 pieces. And there's other parts that play into that. So for you, let's look at your situation, because I'm sure you're not alone. Yours may be a slightly different than some of our listeners, but if you're all going to bed at the same time, let's look at, first of all, what time is that?
9.
9. Okay. So let's look at getting your babies into bed earlier. And I know we'll have listeners who also are like, I got to get these kids into bed earlier because I need a bit of time before I pass out at night because you're so tired, right? So if you're going to move your bedtime earlier, is that something you would like to do?
I don't know. I think I just want us to consistently be in bed at 9 because I am home with them. So
And um, what what time are they getting up in the morning? Let's look at that.
9.
Okay, so they're getting their good 12 hours. And I'm hearing one now. She's
That's
waking
one.
up.
Yep,
There's
from her
one
nap.
waking up from a nap. All right. So you go and get her, and I can chat for a minute.
Okay.
So If they're getting their 12 hours sleep, that's great. Now, let's fast forward to it's now time for getting ready for a school routine or getting ready for preschool, maybe. If you've got an earlier morning that you need for them to be up, we're going to have to move their bedtime earlier. The thing I want to say for all of you who want to move your bedtimes earlier is you're going to have to do it very gradually. At the sleep clinic, they recommended 15-minute increments. You could try a half hour earlier, but really it's going to be best if it's 15-minute increments because our bodies can deal with that and absorb that time difference a little quicker, a little easier, rather. Sorry. So tomorrow night or tonight, you want to try for 15 minutes earlier. Then you want to do that for 3 or 4 nights consistently. So let's say 9 o'clock. Now it's 8:45. Then it's for 3 or 4 nights. Then you're going to go to 8:30 for 3 or 4 nights. Then you're going to go to 8:15, 3 or 4 nights, 8 o'clock. Now you're an hour earlier, and it's taken a couple of weeks. Okay. So those of you who want to shift your bedtime to a little bit earlier, that's what you're going to do. 15-minute increments over a few days for each transition. All right. Now, what you want to do if you're shifting from, if you wanting to implement your bedtime routine and you don't feel like you really have one, the first thing to do is we're going to look at the bedtime that you have, and then we're going to shift everything from the bedtime you have. You want the routine to be 30 to 45 minutes and an hour at the most. And for me, actually, I feel like it's a 45-minute to an hour more realistically.
The whole bedtime routine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. It's going to take a long time because you're going to have a bath time. You're going to have getting pajamas on. You're going to have brushing teeth. I mean, technically, your teeth are supposed to be brushed for 2 minutes, but sometimes a lot of you are going to be laughing and going, yeah, it's a 15-minute process to try and make it happen. And then you're going to have a story or two, and then you're going to have your lullaby. So,
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say like an hour and a half.
okay. Yeah. I mean, for me, children are going to, once they're in the bath, sometimes it's a hard time getting them in, but then it's hard to get them out because they don't
Yeah.
want to get out again, right?
Yeah.
So, for me, I would say 15 to 20 minutes in the actual bath. And for me, there's going to be, 5 to 10 with getting the teeth brushed, and then you're going to get the jammies on, and then you're going to have 1 or 2 stories, depending how the rest of the bedtime routine went. And that can be something that, if the bedtime routine goes really well, then there might be time for 2 stories.
Yeah.
If it, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think maybe when it starts out or if it's not consistent, then maybe that looks like an hour to an hour and a half. But once it is very consistent and
Okay,
solid,
I see what you're saying.
I
Yeah,
think 45 minutes because
45 to an hour. I
yeah,
mean,
45 to an
yeah,
hour. Yeah.
that gives them a little more time to play in the bath longer if
Yeah.
they're having a really lovely bath. That gives a little more time for some more stories. If it's all, it's just okay. So your bedtime is really late for most people. I would say most people with very young children are somewhere between 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock bedtimes. So let's say, just to meet somewhere in the middle, that your bedtime is 8 o'clock. That's your desired bedtime for your kids. And yes, I think that having them up earlier, especially in these dark months, it's so great to be up earlier when it's light because the light goes so
Yes.
quickly, right?
Yes.
And so I would even recommend for you, Sareena, and others listening who have that that late bedtime, I would recommend moving it to 7:30 eventually, and probably 7 o'clock even, because
Well.
then yeah, because I mean, that's pretty normal. But and everybody's different. But then you've got, you and hubby have an hour or two in the evenings.
Yeah,
That's
that would
that's
be
your
nice.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I know
And
it is something we need. Yeah,
it is.
for
And
sure.
also, you said you were going to sacrifice your gym time in the evenings.
Yeah.
If your babies were in bed at 7, girl, you get out to the gym at 8 o'clock for an hour and come home and go to bed, or at 7:30, or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it just opens up your evenings. You could do the gym, however many nights, and have hubby time the other nights. And, so that's a recommendation. Let's choose 8 o'clock. So what you want to do, everybody, is you want to go, okay, 8 o'clock. We're going to give you an hour to do the whole routine. And like Sareena said, it maybe will take an hour and a half if you don't have any routine at all. So you want to start, if your bedtime's 8 o'clock, you want to start at 7 with the bath. And if you feel like yours takes way longer, what you want to have is that end goal, your bedtime that your children are doing now. So for you, Sareena, it's actually going to be 9 o'clock. And you're going to implement this bedtime routine for a while with your current bedtime. Okay.
At
So
8.
if you think yeah, like you're going to start an hour earlier than your children go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really think it's going to take an hour and a half, start an hour and a half earlier. What I want you to do, presumably dinner happens after dinner in every, it's a nice time to just kind of calm energy down. Dinner can be the kind of gateway to bedtime routine. So you want to start dimming the lights in the house all around. You want to move away from any screen time. I know a lot of people watch movies or stick their kids in front of movies before bed. It's not the best thing for our brains. It takes a lot of brain power to watch what's happening on a screen. We don't realize that. We think it's relaxing. If possible, don't have your children in front of screens after dinner time.
If possible. And if not, at least keep the volume low. Like it's time to wind down.
Yeah.
So not having everything blasting.
Yes. If you're listening to any music in the house, have that be kind of calmer music or quieter music. Now, here's the other thing. If your children are full of beans after dinner or full of whatever they just ate, great minds, Sareena, great minds. But I was going to, if they're full of energy, you actually might want to have a dance party for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Put some music on really loud, dance that energy out.
Get the wiggles out.
Oh, get those wiggles out. So I don't want you to start trying to calm everything down if they are bouncing off, so get something, do some jumping jacks together, do some of the playful songs that we've been learning on our Family Fun Fridays together, and really engage that energy first. And what I recommend is you set a timer, or you have a playlist of 3 songs, and then that part's over. So you might want to set a timer for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, or you might say, let's choose 3 songs, and then we'll have a dance party. Get this energy going, and then we're going to calm it down. Okay. And then, okay, I'm going to go run the bath. Yay. Bath time. Oh, that feeling of warm water on your body. I love that feeling. Sareena, before we started recording, you had said that sometimes you take your infant into, you have a shower and not a bath. You take her into the shower and you make it sound very inviting,
Yeah.
which, right? So tell us what you do there.
Yeah, so if I know that my daughter is gonna be a little resistant to taking a shower because
Your older one. Yeah.
she's going
Okay.
through that phase right now, then I'll
Mm-hmm.
I'll just speak to my infant and go, just speak to her in a way so it sounds exciting for my toddler to want
So
to
you're
come.
in the shower with your little baby one.
Or getting ready to go in the shower, and I
Oh,
say,
okay.
"Oh, we're gonna go play with." They have these little light up toys, or
Right.
let's go paint in the shower because we do the painting with the.
Right.
So then I do it in a way because I know she's listening,
Yes. 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 Yes.
and
Okay.
then.
Perfect. So yeah, and what I was saying there was, if you don't have a little one, you can use as your decoy. You can just use your tone of voice to inspire and kind of not excite, but be enthusiastic about what's coming next, right? So I use a tone of voice a lot to set the stage. So once that last song is done, and you're like, if you've had a dance time, or if it's just after dinner and it's like, okay, oh, I'm gonna run that back. And they might go, no, 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 I don't want to have a bath. Oh, I love feeling the warm water on my body. Yeah. I wonder if dolls in the bath or boats in the bath tonight would be better. And you just have this conversation by yourself to yourself as you go and start running the bath water. And it intrigues them. If you can be enthusiastic with your tone of voice and interested, and oh yeah, oh, bubbles or no bubbles, and you don't have to say, do you want bubbles or no bubbles, because you might get, I don't want a bath, if they're in that resistant phase, and that you said it. And yes, everybody, these are phases they go through, and the phase will pass quicker the less you play into the ping pong ball,
hmm
the ping pong game of the phase, right? Yes, honey, you have to have a bath. No, just make it sound interesting and inspiring. All right. So they're in the bath, they're having their bath, getting the hair washed, and then it's time to get out of the bath, wrap up in that big snuggly towel, get dried off, get jammies on, getting their teeth done. Getting their teeth done together with you getting your teeth done. And if you're going to have another snack later, that's okay. You can brush your teeth a second time, but brush them with your child so that you're modeling for them that this is what we do before bed, right? Then you're going to get into bed. Having them choose a story is um, a really good way that they can have that empowerment around bedtime. Have them choose a story. And if the bedtime routine has gone well, they might choose two stories or even three. And sometimes I'll say, do you want one long story or two shorter stories? So then you're going to read your stories when they're tucked into bed, and the lights are then going to go off completely. And then it's a lullaby time. And I'm going to give you a quick little insight or sneak peek that this Family Fun Friday, I'm going to sing for you and teach you one of my own lullabies. So there you go. You're going to have your get the wiggles out moment if you need to, a very short one, because it's hard to wind down after you've been really up energy. But if you need to get rid of some of that energy, do it purposefully. Okay. Then you're going to have your bath, your jammies getting on, your teeth, your story in bed, and then lights off and lullaby singing time. And there you go. There's a classic bedtime routine.
Sounds nice and dandy if it all goes as planned.
Yeah, and I'm really curious to hear how it goes for you, Sareena, who doesn't really have a routine at this point, but also parents listening, please write to us and let us know how your bedtime routine is going. And if it's still difficult after implementing these things, tell us the challenging parts, and we can dive deeper into those. Like I said, we will do one about getting in and out of the bath, getting those teeth done. But
One question is, how long do you think it takes for a kid to get used to getting into this routine? Or how long might they be pushing back?
that is a very good question. And I think that it's really individual. It will depend how long they've had a whole lot more freedom and willy-nilly just fight your way into bed. It'll depend on character of child and relationship of ping pong game between child and parent. So I can't really say how long. What I will say is the more consistent you are in a gentle, encouraging way, but I don't mean gentle like giving in to them. I mean gentle like with your tone of voice and with your bath time now, bath time now. Come on, everybody, it's bath time now. Your way of getting them into it is gentle. But the more consistent you can be, they will begin to know that this is what happens next. It's bath, jammies, teeth, stories, lullaby. Bath, jammies, teeth, stories, lullaby. Okay. And they will begin to depend on that. And that's when you'll start seeing a shift. You might get more pushback initially, and that's going to be upsetting. But I want you to know that if you can maintain your consistency, it will turn around. It will likely take a few days to even get a little bit of the flow feeling happening. And I don't know how to answer how many days it's going to take for less pushback.
Well, I think that was a great answer.
Okay, awesome. All right. Well, I hope that this helps some of you who are struggling with bedtimes to know how important it is and to just know that consistency is your friend, and finding those tones of voice and encouragement, giving a few choices, but not too many and not always choices. It's so tricky because you say, give them choices, but then they go, but I don't want that. I want this. I don't want that. I want that. And then you're into a whole nother.
Yeah, you have to know your kid, right? Because also if you ask a question, you have to respect the answer. So sometimes maybe choices aren't a thing.
You know,
Sometimes.
yeah, sometimes. And so if you're having a night where they're really pushing the choices thing, it's like, you know what? Tonight, it's not a choice. Tonight, I'm just going to pick you up and pop you into the bath. And tomorrow, you could choose if you want bubbles or no bubbles. But tonight, I'm all done with choices.
Lay down the law gently.
Yeah. I know.
Gently.
It's so tricky, right?
Gently.
Love you.
All right, mamas. There you go for bedtime routines. Wish me luck. I think I have a harder time than my daughter probably would. But we're going to work on it. So here are my 3 gems for a successful bedtime routine. Number 1 is consistency is key. Keep it consistent. Keep going. Don't give up. Number 2 is work backward from the time that you aim to be in bed at. So if you're starting off, make sure that you give yourself a good time, hour and a half. And then hopefully it will get easier and quicker with time. But if you want to be in bed by 8, I think you have to know that 6:30 bedtime routine starts, and be aware of that. And number 3 is be enthusiastic, intriguing, interesting, and inspiring, because this is a time that can get frustrating very quickly for both of us parents and for our kids. So make sure that we're keeping in mind that in order to have a smooth routine, we do need to try being enthusiastic, intriguing, interesting, and inspiring, and using our voice and our tone, and have fun with it. Have fun with your kids, and let's not make it a war zone, okay? Let's have fun and let's get our rest, because we all need it. So good luck, mamas.
Hey, Mama.
Thank you for being here with us.
Okay, how cute was that? Thanks for being here with us. Hit subscribe to get notified.
And hey, did you get anything out of this episode? I know I did. Show some love and send it to your mama friends to bless their day too.
And before you run and change that diaper, take 5 seconds and leave us a review saying how much you love us. You'll be helping other mamas find us. Did you know that? And hopefully find answers to the questions that are keeping them awake at night.
And if you screenshot your review and DM it to us, you will be entered to win a 1-hour coaching call at a discounted price with Amma Lisa.
I can't wait to chat with you. Come hang out with us in our Facebook group or on Instagram. Just click the links in the show notes. And you can direct message us anytime. We would love to chat with you.
We also have a buy me a coffee option for a fun way that you can support this podcast for just as much as you care to give. Just click the show support link in our show notes. Thank you.
This show.
See you next week.
This is